River Heights. What a strange idea for a book series. It's a Nancy Drew spinoff that has almost nothing to do with mysteries or Nancy Drew. Instead, it's a teen soap opera series which focuses on the high school that Nancy used to attend. The series lasted from 1989 to 1992. They published a new book every other month for 17 months. I like the series and I wish it could have continued, but it had 3 major problems which probably contributed to its demise. Number 1, as I said earlier, it's a Nancy Drew spinoff that has almost nothing to do with mysteries or Nancy. That probably contributed the most to the series' failure. It's a spinoff in name only, and all the Nancy Drew fans were probably disappointed. I could be wrong, but as far as I can tell, the Nancy Drew angle was the main selling point of the series. Nancy Drew Files 39 was all about the River Heights characters. The series is advertised on the front and back of pretty much every Nancy Drew Files book. According to this cover, they had promotions that pair River Heights with Nancy Drew. And there's the one book where Nancy makes a brief appearance. The back cover practically screams, "Nancy Drew is in this book! Buy it! Buy it!" I think the series would have been more successful if Nancy or her friends played a more active role. As it is, Nancy only appears in 5 books. They're mostly brief cameos that don't affect the story. The biggest role she played was in book 1. There's a 6-page prologue where Nikki talks to Nancy. What if they did that in every book? Every book could have like a full chapter dedicated to Nancy. Sure, that would get tedious after a while, but it'd be better than nothing. Alternately, they could have made Nancy one of the 10 regular characters. All you have to do is say the series takes place last year, when Nancy was still in high school. I'm sure readers would have been more than willing to sacrifice Jeremy Pratt for Nancy Drew. I wonder if the original plan was to have Nancy as the main character, at one point, because the main character's 2 best friends are clearly based on Bess and George. It wouldn't be that much of a stretch to make Nancy and her friends the good girl trio of the series. Of course, that leads to questions about what we do with Nancy's boyfriend, Ned. I think love drama with Ned would be interesting. It's certainly not unheard of in the Nancy Drew universe. But if you want Ned out of the picture completely so Nancy can date other guys, no big deal. Just say the series takes place before Nancy met Ned. Nancy's a junior. She meets him senior year. It's a quick, easy excuse for why Ned isn't around. Besides, Ned lives in a different town anyway. Even if Nancy and Ned dated in high school, she probably didn't see him all the time. Anyway, I'm babbling now. Those are just random ideas I'm coming up with for how Nancy could be more involved with this series. I'm sure there are other, less intrusive options, like making her the alumni coordinator, adding a mystery every 3 books, ooh, or she could have been the contact person for the country club. Anyway, enough about Nancy Drew. The second major problem with this series is that the first 4 books are not very good. I think book 5 is where the series really gets going. That's the point where it has a decent cast of characters built up, and we got some good storylines. So, maybe that led to the series' demise. People tried to get into the series, but they gave up on the first 4 books, because those books weren't very good. Third problem with the series is that it's a ripoff of Sweet Valley High, and I mean it is a direct ripoff. Pretty much every River Heights character has a counterpart in Sweet Valley. This goes all the way down to the newspaper editor and class clown. In fact, this is probably the reason why Jeremy Pratt is such a big deal in the series logo and advertisements. It's not because he's important to these books in any real way, it's because he's based on a popular character, so they thought he would be popular, and he wasn't. He's not good. I'll talk more about him later. I said the series improves at book 5. Part of the improvement is that they stopped following Sweet Valley so closely. We got different characters, new characters. We stopped following the formula of each book has one plot and one subplot, and they introduced storylines that last for multiple books instead of leaving each book as a standalone. So that was good. Towards the end of the series, though, they went back to the Sweet Valley standard of introducing a new main character every book. I don't know why they did that. Anyway, those are the major problems with this series, and that's probably why this series eventually failed, while Sweet Valley went on for another 10 years past this book series. Oh man, Sweet Valley. Anyway, next, I guess I'll talk about the characters and stories, and yeah, I know I've been talking a lot already, But it's always sort of my intention to talk a lot about River Heights, because nobody's talked about this series. It's mostly forgotten by everyone. It hasn't gotten many reviews. So hey, why can't I go into a lot of detail? I'm probably the only person who's going to talk this much about the series. So hey, you get my weird, sarcastic PowerPoint presentation book review look at this series. Anyway, I got a ton of notes. Let me just try to zoom through them here. First, Nikki Masters, the main character of the series. She is Nancy Drew's next-door neighbor. She likes photography and theater. But these things rarely get mentioned, which is sad, because we could have had storylines about them. Instead, Nikki only has storylines about Tim. Nikki and Tim are supposed to be the super couple of the series. Their love drama is the biggest storyline, which goes on for the largest number of books, and I'm sorry to say it is the worst storyline of the series. Maybe that's one of the reasons why the series didn't do so well. Nikki and Tim are not a good couple. They're supposed to be a great couple, but they're bad. Tim has no personality or character. He's mostly there to be the handsome guy that all the girls fall in love with. In the first book, Tim overreacts when Nikki dresses up like his ex-girlfriend. Then he overreacts when she gets a new car. He starts avoiding her, and Nikki starts crying all the time because he's so cold and distant. And that is the point where I lost interest in their love drama. Book 2. If they talked to each other like normal people, the problem would have been solved in 5 seconds, but no, they over-exaggerate everything in the major drama. Tim eventually reveals he was involved in a car accident, and their relationship goes smoothly for a while until Laura appears. Laura's in a play with Tim and Nikki. They're just friends, but Nikki overreacts and assumes they're romantically involved. Oh no, he's cheating on me! The breaking point is at the cast party when Tim puts his arm on Laura's shoulder. Nikki becomes furious with Tim. She hates him forever. She breaks up with him without giving him a chance to say anything at all. But in the next book, Nikki's heartbroken because Tim broke up with her without giving her any closure. And that is the exact opposite of what happened. Continuity. I was very much annoyed that the series was so inconsistent about what happened over this 3-book breakup story. And then Nikki falls in love with this British guy named Niles, only they can't be together because he's got a girlfriend. Oh, wait, never mind. He doesn't have a girlfriend anymore. But then his girlfriend comes back. And then Nikki realizes she can't get in the way of their love, so they have a friendly breakup, and she goes back with Tim. Well, good news is Tim wants to get back together with her too. So they do a scene in a talent show, and that is it for them for this series. Like I said, I lost total interest in Nikki and Tim early on. I thought this storyline was mostly a dud. The other main character of the series is Brittany Tate, Nikki's rival. The rivalry is one-sided, because Nikki's on friendly terms with Brittany, while Brittany hates her with a passion. Maybe that's another problem with the series. The two rivals aren't actually rivals. That's weird. Brittany wavers between a scheming villain and a sympathetic hero, depending on the ghostwriter, and she has the annoying tendency to do really stupid things for the sake of furthering the plot. Still, Brittany is a better character than Nikki, if only because she has more varied storylines, so let me go down the list of every Brittany storyline. First, Brittany tries and fails to sabotage Nikki's chances with Tim. And then the next book, she tries and fails to sabotage Nikki at homecoming. Next, Brittany goes out with Jack Riley. She worries that her embarrassing family members will scare him away, but no, she ends up scaring him away with another failed scheme. She doesn't want Jack to know that she's bad at tennis, so she distracts him by flirting with the tennis instructor for an hour. She's legitimately confused when Jack gets mad at her for this, and I'm legitimately angry that she's such an idiot in this particular book. She hates the tennis guy, but she's bored, so she starts dating him, and in the end she loses both boyfriends forever. Brittany has a series of one-book storylines. She helps Jeremy Pratt date her friend Kim, only she does it in a dumb way that backfires. She gets a job at a trashy diner, she competes with Karen for the role of main newspaper reporter. She promises to be a good person, which doesn't last long, and she tries to make herself more popular by buddying up to Jillian. Brittany finally has a successful evil scheme when she helps Laura break up Tim and Nikki. She makes a play for Tim after this, but it doesn't really work. He's too busy moping over Nikki to care, and then he learns about her evil scheme from the first book, and he dumps her forever. It's okay, Brittany. He wouldn't have been a good boyfriend anyway. Brittany decides to find a new boyfriend, and she settles on Chip Worthington. This was a storyline I did not like. Chip is a horrible person. He is snobby, he is rude, controlling, and he forces Brittany to get a makeover so she looks more like his mother. It's bad. There are multiple points where Brittany decides to break up with Chip, but the series wants them to be a couple for some reason, so she always backpedals for stupid reasons. They get back together for stupid reasons, like, we get to skip ahead in line at the juice bar, and a girl I barely know said something mean about me, so now I have to date Chip again. It was awful. Brittany gets a vacation boyfriend, who we never hear from again. She tries sabotaging Nikki at the talent show, but once again, Brittany's plan backfires. A nerd blackmails Brittany into dating him, which results in her long overdue breakup with Chip. Brittany competes with Samantha for a job on a TV show, and she finishes the series on a nice note as she helps a former friend get revenge on some jerks. As a reward for being a good person for more than 10 pages, Brittany's given a boyfriend at the very last minute. That way she can have a happily ever after. The series logo says that Jeremy, Pratt, and Tim are the other two main characters, but that's not true. I already talked about Tim when I was recapping Nikki and Brittany's stories. No joke! That is all Tim contributes to this series. He has no stories of his own. He literally does nothing besides for having these two girls crush on him. Once the girls stop fighting over him, he fades into the background. There was a half-hearted attempt to make Jeremy a main character. They gave him a scene in every single book. Like, he asks Nikki to dance with him, she says no. He asks Lacey on a date, she says no. He talks with his friends, and he's grumpy. That's it. He doesn't do a whole lot. Eventually, Jeremy gets mad that the series is ignoring him, so he makes a play for Brittany's best friend, Kim. They're both rich snobs, so they would make a great couple. He forces Brittany to help him in exchange for a country club membership. Brittany's matchmaking is a total failure. So, not only do Jeremy and Kim break up, but they swear to get revenge on Brittany. But hey, nobody cares about continuity. So next book, Jeremy and Kim are dating again. It's very much a marriage of convenience at first, but they learn to like each other for real. They're still both snobs that insult each other a lot, so it's not a perfect relationship, but the series figures, hey, it's good enough for them, and they basically drop out of the series after that. Yeah, they're in every book, but they're mostly background characters who don't get their own stories. They have a brief breakup after Kim loses the talent show, but they quickly get back together when they realize how much they love each other. Brittany's other best friend, Samantha Daly, gets more attention than Kim. Samantha gets a crush on the substitute French teacher, and she tries to find a way to attract his attention. Her plans don't work. I guess Brittany's failure is rubbing off on her. And, much to Samantha's surprise, she finds herself getting close to Kyle Kirkwood. Kyle and Samantha make a sweet couple, and she likes him a lot, but again, nobody cares about continuity. So next book, Samantha is ashamed of Kyle, because he's got a reputation as a nerd. She goes overboard in trying to hide him from everybody, to the point where it's not sweet anymore. It is pathetic that Kyle is still dating a girl who so obviously dislikes him. Samantha gives Kyle a makeover, and all the popular kids suddenly think he's okay. Yeah, he's still a nerd, but he's a nerd with cool clothes, so Samantha can totally date him now. Kyle later gets revenge on Samantha for treating him so badly, but it's not mean-spirited, it's more like she's being forced to eat humble pie. They become a solid couple, and like Jeremy and Kim, they start to fade into the background. Kyle isn't in the vacation book, so Samantha feels free to get a vacation boyfriend. Or she tries to at any rate. She tries to get the attention of the room service guy, but she gets left with no romance and a huge bill. I thought it was weird for Samantha to cheat on Kyle for no reason, since they're one of the better couples. What with the whole opposites attract thing, that was kind of cool. Sadly, the relationship doesn't go on much longer. Kyle makes a computer program which randomly assigns people as dates. Samantha becomes insanely jealous at this point, and she makes multiple attempts to sabotage the dating computer. When Kyle figures out what she did, he breaks up with her. Next book, Samantha and Brittany compete for the TV job. Samantha gets the job, so it's kind of a happy ending for her. Those are all Samantha's storylines. Back to Nikki. Nikki Masters also has two best friends, Robin Fisher and Lacey Dupree. Robin's the level-headed friend who likes swimming. She always has a sarcastic comeback. Lacey is the passionate one who likes music and always has a nice thing to say about everybody. Robin's stories, I think she's got 3 or 4 of them. She starts off the series with a fake pregnancy scare. She insists that she's pregnant, even though she's never had intimate relations. She spends the entire book worrying about her pregnancy, and it was a particularly bad attempt at doing a special episode book. The publishers must have realized how much of a failure it was, and the series never again addresses serious topics like teen pregnancy. Well, except for the last book, which kind of goes into diet pills, but not too much. Robin has a boyfriend named Calvin. They fight a lot, but it's mostly played for laughs, because they really love each other. A goofy guy named Michael develops a crush on Robin and starts following her around constantly, but this is more of a joke storyline than a serious love triangle, and Michael is later used to get rid of Laura. Robin wants to sing in the school talent show, but none of her friends are brave enough to tell her that she stinks. She cannot sing at all. She embarrasses herself for a while, and in the show, she lip-syncs her way to victory. In the final book, Robin competes against Katie in swimming. Katie pretends to be Robin's friend in order to sabotage her. Robin's friends warn her, but she refuses to listen. She loses the race, and then she apologizes for ignoring her friends. I thought Robin was a major player in this series, but when I summarize her storylines like that, she seems like a total non-factor. The same thing goes with Lacey. Lacey convinces a band to do an album signing at a record store, and that's literally her only storyline, besides Rick drama. Rick is Lacey's boyfriend. He fights with Lacey, then he falls into a coma. Lacey feels guilty, and she ignores her entire life so she can spend every waking second at Rick's bedside. When he wakes up from the coma, he doesn't blame her, she's happy, their relationship is fixed, and I would be so happy if that was where the storyline ended, but no. When Rick returns to school, he starts avoiding Lacey all the time. This forces her into the arms of Tom, Rick's older brother. It is creepy that Lacey has a huge crush on both Rick and Tom at the same time. And as it turns out, Rick has been cheating on Lacey with another girl. Since Rick cheated first, everybody ignores Lacey's infidelity and gives her a free pass to date Tom. She drags her feet when it comes to publicly revealing her new boyfriend, and then she's sad when Rick has a grudge against her. Why does he hate her? Oh gee, I wonder why he would be mad that you made out with his brother. Whatever. Those are all the main characters of the series. Nikki and Brittany, Nikki's two friends, and Brittany's two friends, and of course the various guys that circle around them. I guess we should also count Karen as a major character because she has 3 books. But she's just so boring and unimpressive, I can't help but think of her as a background character. Karen has a major crush on Ben, who is just as boring as she is. She works to uncover a cheating ring in school, and Ben looks suspicious for a while, but he ends up being completely innocent, because otherwise Karen can't date him. There's a book where Ben complains about the weather. Yes, he spends a whole book complaining about the weather. It's awful. And he gets a letter from his ex-girlfriend. Karen spends the whole book complaining about the letter, and yes, it's awful. She's never read the letter, she just complains about it nonstop. Anyway, I didn't like that book. No wonder they're a couple, they both complain all the time about boring stuff. Ben's ex-girlfriend moves back into town. Ben decides to date both girls at the same time. Karen tries to win Ben over by turning herself into the perfect girlfriend, but she tries too hard, she messes everything up. The girls eventually force Ben to pick which girl he wants to date, and he goes with Karen. Okay, so I've got like a number of other characters here on my list of characters and storylines, so let me just quickly go through them. They're minor characters. Some of them appear in multiple books, but they only get the spotlight in 1 or 2 books. So, like I said, let me just zoom right through them because I've been talking a long time at this point. Dee Dee Smith, newspaper editor. She fights with her father over what college to go to. Emily Van Patten, Ben's ex-girlfriend. She gets mad when her father is dating her teacher. Terry D'Amato, she's just a random girl. She makes up a fake boyfriend in order to impress her friends. Phyllis Brouchard, she overdoses on weight loss pills while 2 guys date her as a joke. Ellen Ming, she tries to figure out who's been robbing the school treasury. Besides for Phyllis, all of those girls got boyfriends in their books. It's like a rule in this series. If you're a girl who's single, you have to have a boyfriend by the end of your story. Okay, so those are all the characters and all the storylines. Okay, so that's it. Okay, I'm finished. Okay, whew. Again, sorry for this long video, but hey, there's pretty much nobody else who's talking about this series. Overall, it's a decent soap opera series. I think it's decent. The characters are nice, and the stories were usually interesting. Usually were good. Doing the math, my overall score for this series is a 6.1 out of 10. My most common score was a 7, followed by a 6, and that sounds right to me. It was entertaining in general, but it never rose up to the heights of grand entertainment, and yeah, there were a couple of books which brought it down, mostly books towards the start of the series, like Brittany having really, really dumb plans, and the pregnancy story, that was weird. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this brief look into this Nancy Drew spin-off series, which never really took flight.